Thank you. My name is Dustin Cook, and we really appreciate you being all here today. Thank you to Boston Beer. And thank you to Brand Innovators. We're really excited to have this gathering. What a cool venue, right? So it's tremendous for me to be back in Boston. It's been a little while, so thank you very much. Before I get into a little bit of a personal intro in market very briefly, I just wanted to say how privileged I feel to be sharing the stage today with Jamie. The Planet Fitness story and Jamie's personal story from a career trajectory standpoint is just really phenomenal. She's a real superstar in our industry. And it's just going to be great to get more insights from her on exactly how she's helped Planet Fitness grow to over 2,500 locations.
Over 2,500 locations, almost 19 million members. Crazy. Great.
Exactly. So, we thought that the best way to go about this would be to just jump right in. Instead of tell you all about the innovation, we wanted to start by showing you a little bit of the innovation. So if we can roll the video right now, you're going to see the latest spot, the latest great advertising campaign for Planet Fitness.
This was believed. Toxic instructors, shady scammers, and fistful fakes. Mother Fitness was angry at the stallion. Hello, my hot girl. Enough of this toxic nastiness. So she survived to the judgment-free zone. Welcome to Planet Fitness, where everybody can work out in their own way.
Listen to Mother Fitness and join today. Planet Fitness. Peak fitness energy for all.
Where are my legs?
There we go. All right. Okay, so Megan the Stallion, Mother Fitness. This campaign is just awesome, and it covers so much ground from big fitness energy to body positivity to the judgment-free zone, working on your own way. How did this collaboration come together?
It's a great question. We always look for ways to break through. Several people talked about their big moments and their big, moment in the year, and for us, that is Q1. But we want to make sure that when we're messaging and when we're coming to life and we're really breaking through, that we're doing it in an authentic way, in a unique way. We definitely don't want to be like every other fitness brand. And if anyone has seen our advertising over the years, I think people can see we have a really unique point of view. And so when we were looking for a concept or a person or how this is going to come together, obviously you all have been given, lists and decks and reasons why, but Megan, or Meg, that we call her now, we're buds, and my team is here, the two lovely ladies that help bring this to life. So Lindsay and Kellen from Planet Fitness, if you see them, definitely say hello, and they have all the details of how it came together. But she really started her fitness journey recently and started to really lean into, getting healthier, making better choices. And she also has this amazing message of body positivity and positivity overall. When you talk to her and you talk to her team, it really is something she believes in, and that's really important to us when we're partnering with anyone or we're thinking about concepting, is what are our true core beliefs and what are the partners that we're associated with or the people that we're associated with, and how do those marry up. And so Meg definitely came to the table and said, I would love to work with Planet Fitness, but I want to do more. I don't want to just be in, your latest television spot. So we worked in collaboration with her team and rolled out workouts inspired by her, a merchandise line, which goes to her charitable organization, the Pete Thomas Foundation. And we have a second drop coming soon, so be on the lookout for that. We also were able to really activate in social and have her be her authentic self. And we loved that, and how she was, incentivizing people to come in the gym and move a little more. So we love Meg, and excited to continue.
It's just a spectacular campaign. Cheers to you on that. You started to touch on this a little bit, Jamie, but can you talk to us a little bit more about, we see the great commercial. We know that there's some social amplification going on, but if you think about it from a 360 standpoint, what else are you doing to amplify this? And really, beyond that, how do you measure results? It has to be working very well right now, but how are you guys monitoring that from the KPI standpoint?
We, like I mentioned, are looking at this holistically. And so Q1 is a big time for us, as it is for anyone in our category or in our industry. And so we definitely look at joins and people coming in the door, but we also measure sentiment and how people are responding to our advertising, but also responding to our engagement in the club and outside of the club. So if we think about how many people are coming in the doors, greeting them with a smile, saying hello and goodbye, measuring that sentiment through NPS scores, but also looking at social sentiment. I will say in recent history, this is the first time we've had people say, I'm joining Planet Fitness because Mother Fitness told me to. That is amazing that someone comes out and says that about your brand, and it's really hard to do. I think, we don't all get a lot of credit for trying to make our brands relevant and make our brands stand out, and that was a huge win for us. So we're looking at NPS, we're looking at sentiment, we're looking at joins, we're looking at usage in our clubs. Post-COVID, the fitness game has totally changed. And so as we think through how we're staying relevant, but also how we're thinking about, your whole fitness journey, not maybe in our clubs, but also outside of our clubs, incentivizing our members to use our perks platform where they can get discounts and cool partnerships. So it's looking at it holistically, but we have several measures that we look at.
That's great. So we had an outstanding call last week. We just wanted to get a little bit aligned on, hey, what do we want to talk about here? And part of what you...
Also, don't mean to interrupt. He's being really kind. I was not prepared. I didn't name the session. We are in our Super Bowl right now, so I've been busy, so he's being really nice to me. So thank you for that.
So you talked a little bit about a framework that you use, and I want to talk more a little bit later about your career at Planet Fitness. But within that, you have this past, present, and future framework that you guys seem to guide a lot of the marketing decisions around. Could you talk a little bit more about that and what evolutions have taken place to get to Mother Fitness today?
When we have looked at, our future, like I said, post-COVID, we really are trying to take a fresh look at things. And if you think about how the fitness industry has evolved, we've had to make sure we're keeping up and keeping relevant. And so back in the day, so our future was really based around this idea of the lunk. And what a lunk is, for all of you who don't know, it's somebody that intimidates. And in the past, that was maybe more of a physical lunk. And so when we started out, we put up a lunk alarm in our gyms. You can ring it when somebody is intimidating you or making you feel uncomfortable. But also, over time, that's changed. So, if you look at a lot of our earlier work, we're saying, you won't see these type of people here. But over time, we've had to evolve that into a behavior. So now, or I won't say now, previously, we look at that as a behavior. So if you're intimidating someone or you're acting out of line, that is a problem in our clubs. And if you think about fitness and just working out in general, a lot of times it can be really intimidating. Where do I start? Are people going to look like me? How do I turn on the treadmill? What is this pin in this machine and where does it go? What weight should I start at? So it's a really, really emotional thing for people. So we started talking about, the lunk as maybe a physical representation, then the behavior of somebody that was making you feel uncomfortable in the club, and designing our clubs so that they were welcoming, training our team members so that they're welcoming people into our clubs. And now as we move forward and the latest work, we're really still leaning into that idea of intimidation. But as we change as a society and as fitness becomes more accessible, we want to still be that accessible brand, affordable, non-intimidating, tons of locations, a great offering, great value for your money. But how do we pair that with the digital offering? How do we pair that with things that are going to incentivize people to come in more? And so that's really what we're looking at as we evolve. But we've definitely taken a lot of steps to stay relevant and meet people where they're at.
Yeah, I love that. You talked a little bit about value. So I think it's natural to go to this Planet Fitness value proposition that seems to be so pronounced. And it's not just about an affordable monthly fee, right? It's about the app. It's about the free personal training. All those things. Could you talk a little bit about how that really lends itself to this greater marketing system?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to bring you all in a little bit into my daily struggle and my team's daily struggles. For a long time, we have been the lowest price option out there. I'm sure a lot of you have seen our messaging at $10 a month or $1 down or whatever the offer is at the time. But as we think about how we go forward, we want to make sure that that's not the only thing people know about Planet Fitness. We want people to know that we have the best quality equipment. Our equipment is the same as you'll find in an Equinox. We have beautiful clubs. We have offerings on our app. We are able to provide training for you to show you how to use the club. So really telling that story in a broader way is going to be really critical for us as we move forward and how we stay relevant. So if we think about this kind of tension between offering a really, really affordable product, but also wondering, is that hurting us as we go out with that as our lead message? We're really trying to take a step back and say, look at all you get, and guess what? It's really affordable. So that's been our kind of balance over the past 6 to 8 months, and that's kind of the road that we're looking at as we carve out 2025.
Amazing. So you just said look at all you get. So I'm going to assume you've been getting a lot out of your 20 plus years at Planet Fitness. The first thing I did before I left school was look you up on LinkedIn like everybody does, and I wanted to see where you've worked in the past. And it was Planet Fitness, and that's it's so impressive nowadays to see that. So, why have you stayed? Like, what is it about the company that must be so great in your mind's eye that you stayed there this entire time?
I get that question a lot. I've been with Planet Fitness about 24 years, and that's like unheard of these days. And started it in the club, like checking numbers in at the front desk, and have been really, really fortunate with the growth of our organization to be in the role I am today. And when I get asked the question, it's always the same. It's our brand and the people I get to work with. The brand means so much to me, and it means so much to other people as well. And we have made fitness accessible for people that would have never joined a gym before, wouldn't even thought fitness was a choice that they should be making, wanted to make, or have fun in our clubs. Like, that wasn't even a conversation back in the day. So I absolutely am obsessed with our brand. I think we do so much good, not only in the fitness space, but as we ramp up a lot of our CSR and sustainability efforts, we are really looking holistically at how we can do good in the world. And the other thing, I work with some really awesome people, and I've been able to have those really close relationships for many, many years. 2 women that are with me today I've worked with for a really long time, and they've helped build this brand. And they're not only my colleagues, but they're my friends. And I, feel so, so fortunate. A colleague of mine said to me yesterday, when you're kind of working through stuff or things are getting hard, she said, reframe it as I get to. And that's been really, really she only said it to me like 12 hours ago. But I keep thinking about that. And I get to come here today. I get to advertise for a brand that does good for the world. I get to work with these awesome women. Like, that's a huge mindset shift for me. And so I get to.
It's really, really positive, really uplifting. I love it. Let's talk about, just to shift a little bit towards trends. So again, if you think about the past, the present, future framework, we've really kind of we dove into the past and in the present, obviously, with Mother Fitness. What about the future? Like, what are the big fitness trends that you're seeing right now that are really influencing how you're thinking about the next 3 to 5 years?
We are doing a lot of research and trying to understand the next generation. And we're really fortunate that Gen Z has been joining our clubs at a really, profound rate. And, we're hoping that we see that with Gen Alpha too, but we need to be really purposeful. And so as we look at trends in fitness gaming, Fit Talk is a new trend that is booming right now. Any type of digital and brick and mortar pairing we're taking a look at. And we're also making sure that not only are we looking at those trends and leaning in, but we also want to stay really focused on who we are as a brand. We have our, 2,500 locations that are big and beautiful and bright with friendly team members. So we also want to make sure we're using that as a balance. But the younger generations are definitely giving us a run for our money. So we're doing a lot of work and a lot of focus to understand how we can continue to be relevant to those two age groups.
That's great. So you met, the 2,500 plus locations. One of the things that I was kind of interested again in our pre-call and the prep was, how many of those are franchise locations versus corporate owned? And really, where I'm getting at here is how does that impact your innovation and how you think about testing and learning and all that in the marketplace?
We're really fortunate that we have about 10% of our clubs, what we call corporately owned. So we're able to use those for test and innovation, and that can be anything from a price offering to new equipment to a new way that we're training our team members. And for anyone who works or has worked in a franchise business, it's not easy. Franchisees can be really, really tough. They have, revenue goals that they need to meet as well. And so what we have been able to do in our organization is roll things out or try things out in our corporate clubs and then roll them out system-wide. So we really utilize that team a lot. There's a running joke of how many tests we can have going at one time. And you would think it would be easy. You open a gym and people come, but there's all of these nuances to what people are looking for, whether that's a price offering or whether that's a piece of equipment or whether that's the location itself, whether that's urban or suburban or the footprint. Like how big do we need to build these or how small, and where is the return going to come? So there's a lot of test and learn that comes with our corporate clubs, and our corporate club team is pretty amazing. So they have a hard job.
Got it. So really briefly, from an InMarket perspective, we are a location-centric and retailer-agnostic ad tech platform. So our mission is really about helping brands connect with customers in the moments that matter most, when and where it's most optimal. And we really do that through a marketing platform and measurement platform that is industry leading. So it kind of gets me to this question. We talk a lot about in our business about, hey, you have to know the who, you have to know the what, but the when and the where are vitally important as well to make sure that you're really capturing the attention of that consumer, that customer, in the moments that matter most. So if I were to ask you, I'm assuming that one of your best marketing platforms are the gyms themselves, right? And some of the kind of the advertising and best foot forward you can put in that environment. Could you talk a little bit about how you're kind of using the gyms themselves as a branding vehicle?
One of the major shifts that we've seen throughout our time, we've been around for 30 years, is this shift to digital, as I'm sure you've all seen. And it's an interesting thing for us because back in the day, we would see people come in the club, ask a bunch of questions, give them a tour, and sign them up. And now 70 to 80% happens online. So some of the people that join don't even step foot in the clubs. And so what we're really trying to make sure of is we're giving a little nudge to people who join online to come in the club, take a tour, see all that we have to offer. Because to your point, we really want to use the clubs to help sell the brand, but then also get that referral or get them to, sign up with their spouse or their partner. And that is becoming an interesting challenge for us and something I don't think we expected. And a big conversation that we've been having over the past year is this idea of additional flexibility in the workplace, in your life. And so our business historically has been really, really repeatable, and you could see a very, very clear trend. Like we knew how many people would walk into our clubs on a Monday. We knew how many people would walk into our clubs on a Tuesday. That's all changed with the way the world has shifted. And so we really know how valuable the club is as a selling tool and a marketing engine. So how do we get them in? How do we welcome them? How do we make them feel special? How do we make them, feel important in the moment and make sure that they know what they're doing in the club? Because a lot of our members, this past couple of months, I think 30 to 40% of our joins were people that had never joined a gym before. So they are intimidated to even walk, through the door. So how can we make that experience best in class?
Yeah. So on that note, we talked a little bit earlier about clearly this time of year, acquisitions are such an important KPI, new year, new you, all that kind of good stuff. How do you think about kind of evolving KPIs if they are evolving as the year unfolds, right? And you're not necessarily capitalizing on these big acquisition pushes, but now it's about to make sure that you're continuing to build brand health and stay strong going into the next big acquisition.
When I started at Planet Fitness and I was the sole member of the marketing team, I was fortunate enough to work with our founder. And one of the things that he said is we want to be able to make people aware of us all the time, not just in January. And so as we have done since we were founded, we market all the time and we make sure that we are front and center all the time. Do we have priorities? Absolutely. But to your point, the KPIs don't necessarily change, but how we're thinking about things certainly has. So making sure we're staying relevant in our offering, but also placing ourselves in relevant mediums or having relevant partners. One program that's allowed us to be really front and center and attract that younger audience that I was talking about happens each summer. It's called High School Summer Pass, and we welcome teens into our clubs for free for the summer. And so as you think about, what the pandemic has done to the younger generations, they're stressed out, they're on their phones, they're on some sort of screen. And so in thinking about what Planet Fitness can do to help with that and introduce the younger audiences to our brand early so that they have a positive experience, we have done that. So that's something that is a very different, KPI than a join in January, but it's something that A, is the right thing to do, and B, introduces a new audience to our brand. So that's something we take a lot of pride in and have welcomed millions of teens into our clubs. And it's an amazing program that the entire organization is really, really proud of.
So how much time do we have? 5 minutes, okay. So probably a good time, unless I'm forgetting anything, to open it up for questions.
You did great.
You
did great.
Thank you so much. All right, questions?
I'm Dan. Brand loyalty, depending on the data source, may be at an all-time low right now. And so for Planet Fitness, beyond price, what are the mechanics of actually retaining your members through their life cycles?
It's a great question. One of the things that I think is really important, the question was brand loyalty and how do you continue to build upon that, or how do you continue to grow that? And so when we think about a join or a new member, we want to make sure that when they come in, they're having a good experience, but also when they leave, they're having a good experience, because we hold the belief that people aren't going to always have the time, or it's not always going to fit into their life. So we want to be really, really intentional about that, so that you can come and go. Most of our memberships don't have a commitment on them, so you can cancel without an additional fee. But for the members that maybe isn't their path and they're sticking with us for a while, we have programs where they can come in and meet with a trainer. They can utilize workouts on our app. They can utilize our perks program through partner discounts. So we have ways that we want to try to engage with people that maybe aren't even coming in the club, because we know life happens, and we want to be realistic about fitness and not be that intimidating brand in people's lives. We want to be a partner.
Hi, my name's Matt. Curious about Megan's Stallion campaign and how you measure maybe effectiveness ROI, placing a big bet on this superstar, right? She's amazing. And how you maybe compare that to more like organic, smaller influencer-led initiatives.
The question was, how do you kind of track an ROI on a campaign with Megan? And we're looking at a lot of different things. I think for the Megan work specifically, we want to make sure we're creating some top value and we're creating great sentiment and engagement with the work that we're putting out. However, we're really aware that she isn't going to be engaging for every single member that we have, or every single member we want to acquire. And so we want to make sure that when we're looking at campaigns like that, that we're being really specific about other influencers or other ambassadors that we can lean into to speak to a different audience. We have people from all walks of life in our clubs, and we want to make sure that the new members know that they, you're going to see somebody that looks like you. You're going to be greeted with a friendly staff member. So it's not necessarily one thing in the marketplace. It's several, and several KPIs go into that. And ultimately, we want high sentiment. We obviously want to acquire more members, and we also want high engagement rates in our clubs and people using our clubs. It's a great question. The question was, how are we thinking about the intersection of like a digital or a social fitness offering and Planet Fitness? When we were going through COVID, all of our clubs shut down, and so we couldn't use the Planet Fitness. It was a really, really tough time in our organization. And we made a really concerted effort to make sure that we are leaning into our digital offering, but also showcasing how people can use the things they're seeing on TikTok or YouTube or, name your platform, and using it in our clubs. We have equipment for every workout. So how are we showcasing that? I think that's another kind of misperception of Planet Fitness that we're trying to kind of unpack is we have a ton of equipment. We have your functional training that's really, really popular with younger audiences right now. And it's not a either or, it's an and.
We have time for one more? All right.
Hi, my name's Lindsay. I wanted to hear a little bit more from you about your New Year's activation, which I know you've done, I don't know, at least the last 5 years or so. So can you talk a little bit about that and repeating that on a year-over-year basis, and how basically it's, I know that you guys do that on an annual basis, so how do you think about how long you're going to do that for and the investment that takes versus other new campaigns that you might do?
The question was about, brand sponsorships, and in our case, specifically our New Year's Eve activation. Our New Year's Eve activation has been going on for, this is our 9th year. And so we're talking about what is year 10. And for us, the sweet spot is obviously building awareness before Q1 to drive more action during that time frame. And so New Year's Eve does that for us really well. The other thing that's really amazing about that partnership is we're able to have a lot of different extensions. So we have our on the ground activations, and we have our broadcasts, but we also have a variety of social and digital activations that go along with that. And so for us, the timing is really great. We've done Super Bowl, we love Super Bowl, but it kind of, isn't maybe the exact right timing for us if we want to think about the calendar. And so New Year's Eve really creates that for us, and I think when we look at the ROI on that and we look at how that's being measured, we're seeing positive sentiment, we're seeing website spikes, we're seeing positive indicators that that's still creating that huge awareness for us. And it's also just a really authentic partnership. The teams that we work with to make that happen, they do a great job helping us tell our story, not only on the broadcast, but in a variety of other ways too. So we feel really, really good about the years that we've been doing it. We were the first to kind of put that package together, and others have kind of followed since then, but we continue to be really, really impressed with what that delivers.
Jamie, this was a blast. Yeah.
It was. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much.